If you decide to start a podcast, hit us up because we know about all of the little things.
We're offering a mentorship program.
Consultation on starting a podcast.
A mentorship program that is $10,000 initial fee.
It's the day-to-day life. Wanna know what it's like? Mom. Just an average family with a few million likes. We're a husband, a wife, and a kid in the limelight. 24/7 just to F and get by. Mom. It's a house full of love. No, we can't let it fade. So let's add a podcast just to make it insane. Mom. It's that MOMager life. Mom. We take it day by day.
Mom!
What do you want? I'm trying to sing a theme song.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to MOMager, a Barton Fam podcast where we take you behind the scenes of Hollywood family life. I'm Felicia.
I'm Malachi.
And I'm Loren.
Before we get started, make sure you guys hit the follow, subscribe, like button, all of those things, and turn on those post notifications so you can get all of our new episodes that are coming out. And also, don't forget to head over to Patreon where you can go further behind the scenes of MOMager.
Okay, guys, it's a special podcast today because
big day.
Not only is this podcast releasing on May 20th, but it is also our 20th episode. Can you believe that?
Crazy.
20 episodes.
20 episodes.
I'm tired.
I bet you are. I was going to ask how you were feeling.
You were going to ask how I was feeling?
Yeah.
Well, let
Dad,
me
how
tell
are you feeling? How are you feeling, Dad?
I'm feeling
20 episodes in.
20 episodes in. I'm actually feeling better now. I feel
really?
I am, yeah.
Than when we first started? Well, yeah, for sure.
I feel like we've overcome a lot of hurdles. I mean, even the early stuff about just figuring out how to get Spotify to work and figuring out how to get YouTube to work.
Yeah, if you decide to start a podcast, hit us up because we know about all of the litlittle things.
We're offering a mentorship program.
Consultation on starting a podcast.
A mentorship program that is it's a $10,000 initial fee if you pay.
We'll give you a shout out, your podcast on our podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the truth is we've overcome a lot of those kind of hurdles on the way to shooting 20 episodes.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually now feeling a bit of momentum just to our process, you know.
Absolutely.
So I'm grateful for that. Because look, I'm the techie guy that has to have all my head wrapped around all those
100%.
Oh, we know.
Yes.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm very grateful. We feel super blessed that so many people have come along this journey with us,
yeah,
you know,
seriously.
like that's weird. I think when we started it, we were like, maybe a few people will watch and it's probably our family that's going to watch.
Which they are watching. Thanks, family.
Yeah, thanks, fam.
Shout out. I appreciate it.
But also I think it's been incredible just to see all of the new followers and the fans that have come along, the viewers, that are coming behind the scenes of not just our family life, but also that of our guests as well. The
comments that I love are the ones that are saying, I look forward to seeing this every Tuesday.
Yeah.
That lets me know that we've striking a chord with some people.
Yeah.
And that this has become a part of their life on a weekly basis. That means a lot.
Yeah, I'm really thankful to not only all of our followers, subscribers, viewers, listeners, but also to our incredible guests that we've had. We've had some amazing conversations here in this room and via Zoom as well, where just some beautiful stories have come about. And so, thank you to all of our guests, all of our viewers, all of our listeners. 20 episodes.
Because we couldn't have done this without our friends saying, we'll come on the podcast and have a conversation with you. That's a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So a fun statistic for you guys, just so you know.
Oh gosh.
Did you know that 47%,
all of this
this is a 2025 recent statistic, 47% of all podcasts stop before episode 3.
What was our third episode?
They cease to exist before the third episode.
The third episode was Dexter.
Or Scarlett.
I have a game that I want to play, a challenge, okay?
He didn't give us
We made it way past 3 episodes.
Yes, so here we are.
Good job, everybody.
Well done. Well done.
So what's the game, Dad?
All right, here's the game. I want to see if you guys can list in order all of the episodes that we have done. Let's see if you can get
This
through.
is like Megan having to list all the American Idol winners and runners up.
Let's see how far you can make it.
We have to
list all the episodes of MOMager that have been aired up to this point.
Including all of the just Barton Fam episodes?
Yep. See if you can get through all of them. Starting from episode 1. What was episode 1?
I need to pull up in my calendar.
Well, episode 1 was
clearly
Meet
just
the
us.
Bartons.
Meet the
Do you remember what it was called?
Welcome to the Fam.
Welcome to the Fam.
Yeah.
Good job.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Number
Chandler
2 was
and Taryn.
Chandler and Taryn.
Yep.
Number
3
was
Scarlett and Sam.
No, Scarlett and Sam.
What's the last name?
Estevez.
Thank you.
Loren.
Obviously.
Seriously.
Sorry.
No, we don't need the details.
Detail man over here. Okay. You got it. Episode 4.
Dexter, Mama Pat.
All right. Episode 5.
It was
Hang on.
another Barton Fam.
It was because we do once we start the month
Yeah.
with
And
one.
so it was Road to Hollywood.
Road to
Road to Hollywood. Well done. Episode 6.
Episode 6 was I got it.
Oh,
It was Dallas.
Yeah, and
Dallas
Bianca.
and Beyonka Young.
is that right?
That's correct.
Yes.
All right.
I'm
Episode
surprised I
7.
and then it went to Camry.
No,
No.
that was later.
Another.
Freya.
You got it.
Freya and Sara.
Yep, you got it. And which, fun fact, that was the first episode that we ever actually
That
filmed.
we actually filmed.
right,
Yeah.
which actually aired at episode number 7.
Okay.
Who came after Freya? Episode number 8.
Not Meg.
Nope.
It
was the guest before Meg.
This is where my brain starts to go into mush.
It was Daniell Fishel.
Oh yeah, Danielle.
There we
her
go.
mom.
Yeah.
Jennifer
Jennifer.
Well
Yeah.
done. Okay. That was episode 8. Episode 9.
And episode 9 was Camry.
Nope.
No, it was
No.
not. It wasn't. It was Meg Donnelly.
Meg.
Nope.
What?
It was
don't tell me.
top of the month. What does
Don't
that
tell me.
mean?
Oh, it was a
Barton
Barton
Fam,
Fam.
Barton
Oh, it was
Fam.
a birthday. It was the birthday
Birthday
episode.
This was the
Got
top
you.
of March.
Okay, got
Okay,
it.
then after
Then it
that,
was Meg.
it was
Then
Meg.
we went Meg episode
Yeah.
10.
And then Camry.
With Mike and Liz.
Well, and that was our first dad.
That was
to
our
ever
first
have a
dad.
podcast.
Sure.
Okay, you
Yep.
can't give us the answers. We got this.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
All right.
So Meg,
episode
and then it was
11. Who came after Meg?
Freaking.
Was that
Let me know if you need a hint.
Cam?
It wasn't Camry because we didn't do Meg and Camry back to back.
Oh, MK.
MK.
Yes.
And who was on with MK?
Oh,
Oh,
my
D.
gosh, D.
His
His mom D.
Yeah.
Well done. Which,
Ooh.
okay, it's funny.
Oh my
Part of the
gosh.
reason this is so tough for us is because
We
we're not
fil-
shooting these all in order.
Yeah.
Right. That's
And
why
there have
my
been
brain
multiple
is like,
times, and I'm looking
like
at Jason
glitching.
right now laughing because it was at one point, MK was episode 8, and then we switched
Yeah.
it and he became episode.
That hurts my brain.
Exactly. All right.
Okay,
Okay,
continue.
So who
So-
was after MK?
After
Let's
MK
see.
was
That was
Um,
Cam.
Camry.
Cameron and Hillary.
That was episode 12. Okay, so episode 13, right after Cam, who came next?
We're just trying to figure it out right now.
Do you need a hint?
No.
Can I give you the
wanna,
date?
like, actually
Can I give you the
give us-
date of the
Give us 2
episode?
seconds
Give
to
us
figure it
2
out.
All right,
seconds.
take your time.
Okay, MK, Cam.
After Camry, at Camry, it was.
Oh, would it have been
Oh, it was another Barton Fam episode.
Don't make me
yeah,
hit
it was
you
another
with,
Barton Fam.
Dad, no.
Wow.
Come on.
Don't make me hit you.
I
No.
really feel like it was another Barton Fam.
You're correct. It was another
Yeah.
Barton
Yeah.
Fam. Which Barton Fam was it?
It was the one where we started talking about
Do you want me to tell you the date?
No.
No date. Okay. Because the date
was
would absolutely
after-
give it away.
it was the
April
was
Fools.
the April
April
Fools one.
Fools.
Yeah, that's right.
absolutely.
Okay, that's what I was.
Shout out to our editor Cam because he
Shout
came
out.
through
yeah.
on that
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
We
that
got
was
to know
funny.
Cam.
He took
And
a bunch of
then
time.
the Benwards.
Nope.
No.
Too soon. Who came before the Benwards? Episode 14.
14 after April Fools.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Glitching.
You guys got this.
Glitching.
Come on.
I need
you
a
got
hint.
this.
I need to phone
Okay.
a friend.
Okay, here you go. Filmed
Jason, Erica.
filmed on April 8th.
Filmed on April 8th. Right. Okay. So
You mean
right.
released April 8th.
Released on April
Okay.
8th. What's another hint I could give you? Jason, Erica, do either of you know? Do you have any guesses?
Okay, what's the
Wow,
what's the
the forgotten guest. I'm
Oh,
so
no,
sorry.
No, Janice.
You got it.
Oh,
You got it.
Michelle.
Janice, humblest apologies.
Humblest
we
apologies.
also filmed that one before
Way
the
Yes,
holidays.
yes,
Like we filmed
yes.
that one so long
Yeah.
ago.
Right. Which,
okay.
from an editing standpoint, it's hilarious the stuff that we have
Yeah.
to cut out. I remember on Camry's episode, we had to cut out a bunch of talk about Halloween.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Remember that
also,
was shot right
also
before
something
Halloween?
else that has happened. A lot of our comments tend to be about Malachi's hair, which is really funny. We'll get comments and they're like, "Malachi's always changing his hair up," and I'm like, "Actually, we just
No.
filmed those before
Yeah.
he changed his hair."
And
Yeah.
then Benwards.
Correct. So the Benwards
So we
were
got it.
episode.
Benwards
hold
part
on,
one,
there's
Benward part two.
Benwards part 2. That's 115, 116.
yeah,
Who was 117?
Sway.
Sway Bhatia, good.
And then
118 is
Josh Colley.
Almost.
No. Sorry, that's our American Idol episode.
Yeah, American Idol.
Behind the scenes of American Idol.
Then,
Barton Fam.
And then nope.
Nope.
119.
Wait. 119.
You just said it a second ago.
Josh Colley.
Josh Colley. And then that brings us up to the present. Good job.
Wow.
Good job. And that is 20 episodes in the can, you guys.
Wow. Good job, guys.
Okay, good job. I'm proud of us.
Seriously, thank you. Those have been really fun. Those have been a lot of fun episodes, a lot of really incredible stories, like I was just saying. And I feel like Daniell Fishel warned us about how busy shooting a podcast was. We should have listened to you, Danielle. No, it's...
Well, we did listen, but it's like you don't know until you're in it, until you're chasing the thing down.
Starting this podcast has literally been, it's added an additional 40 to 60 hours to each of us individually.
Yeah, we calculated that at one point that you and I were both working more than 40 hours
a
week.
A whole separate full-time job. And then in the middle of like, I just finished American Idol. So it's like shooting all of that.
School just started
doing
back
all
up.
of it. And Malachi
semester.
with like the movie ramping up and tour coming up and all of those things. It's like we definitely added a whole extra thing to our plate, but it's been fun and I'm so thankful.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if we're being honest, we're feeling it today, right? We're feeling all of that.
Well, sure.
Life.
I'm tired.
That's life.
Life has a way.
Man, I got a full body rash right now. Full transparency. I got bit by something playing die. I was playing die last night. Got in some bushes. Got bit by something. Had an allergic reaction.
Yeah. Literally, you're like half awake on Benadryl right now.
I just took Benadryl right before he started filming this. I'm tired. My legs are obnoxiously itching. I don't have lice, I promise, but it feels like it because I have hives on my head, I think. I had hives on my forehead that somehow went away right before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my arms are a little itchy, but they're going away.
Literally last night, I woke up at 1 a.m. suddenly and realized that I had forgotten to hit go public on this week's podcast.
Oh my gosh.
So I go down, I'm at the bottom of the stairs with my laptop open, pulling up YouTube Studio, clicking that as you wake up from the couch and walk over. And that's when you're like, Dad, I got something going on. I'm itching like crazy.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, because I went upstairs, went into my bathroom to like toss some like acne stuff on. And I noticed that I have like 3 or 4 bug bites on my face. And I'm like, what are those? And then I realized I'm itching on my around near my tattoo. And I was like, maybe it's just dry. I'm itching over here now. I pull my shirt up and my body is just covered in like 10, 15 little spider bites up my up my stomach right here.
Yeah.
And then I go like this and I'm like covered in bites all over here. Covered in bites here. I have like a big like red blemish down like this side of my face. And I was like, oh, this isn't good.
And yet somehow here we are today
filming a
podcast, episode 20.
I love it.
Okay, so here's what this brings to mind for me. Something that's been important in my life and I feel the need for it today. And that is the need to press pause on occasion.
Yeah.
I actually have an app on my phone that twice a day gives me an alert. It's an app called the Pause app. Go check it out. It's great. And it just reminds you at least twice a day, stop what you're doing, take a beat, go inside, reflect, find that peace, find that calm. And I think it's an important thing for us in our lives because we're the perfect example right now of how busy life can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are always chasing something, driving after something. Life is fast paced. I know we all feel this, whether it's sports, work,
school,
raising kids, newborns, whatever's going on. It's always something. So I think it's important to remember that we are not human doings. We're human beings.
Yeah.
And so that's where occasionally taking a pause is helpful to just
reflect.
Yeah. And to just be in the moment you're in, to kind of disconnect from all of the things that you feel you have to do, because there's always going to be that list, right?
Yeah.
There's always the things that are required of us every day, things that are required of us career-wise. And we need to stop and reflect. And it gives us a chance to notice some of the treasures that we have in our lives that we might miss if we just move through it too fast.
Totally.
So
which is what we're going to do.
I think that kind of sets up what we're going to do today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty well.
Today we wanted to kind of reflect on all 20 episodes. So sit back, folks. We're watching 20 hours of, no, I'm kidding. We're just going to pull some clips from some of our favorite episodes. And we just want to kind of like chat about some of these moments. So, yeah, welcome to our first clip episode.
There we go.
This first clip is from our first guest, Chandler Kinney, and her incredible mom, Taryn. Yeah. So check it out. Okay, so tell our listeners, interviewers, a little bit about Taryn, though. Besides being the incredible mama of Chandler, like, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Oh, my goodness.
And Chandler, you should probably fill in because sometimes it's hard for us to talk about ourselves.
Oh, she struggles talking about herself. So I'm here to hype you up.
Okay. So I spent about 15 years with a major insurance company where I owned 2 different insurance agencies.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Wow.
And then
I can't stop.
when we moved to down here near LA,
Because you're originally from
we were in
NorCal,
Sacramento.
right? Sacramento, okay.
Yeah, I'm originally from the Midwest.
Right.
But when we moved down here to LA, my children were actually 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my gosh.
So it was hard for me to open a new agency or whatever. So at that point, I was home with the kids for a while. And then I went back and got my master's in clinical psychology.
Amazing.
And
Which
worked
you and
with-
Loren totally can relate on because Lauren's back in school.
Yes.
In school.
And worked a bit in drug and alcohol rehabilitation.
Amazing.
And then right as I was deciding to get my doctorate, literally the week I made that commitment to get my doctorate, somebody started booking.
Someone said, I want to be an actor.
Someone, a little bitty voice said that. And I was faced with a choice at that point. It was like, you know, my career, my child, and I chose my child. And it's been so much fun. It was absolutely the best decision.
What's that been like for you to have your mom just like on your team with you through all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was everything for me because I think it is such a big sacrifice. And now as an adult, as a 24-year-old, looking back at like my 9-year-old self, there's so much that I was able to do because of her and like the time and effort and energy that she poured into me.
Yeah.
And then there's also so much that like speaking with friends who also were child actors who like grew up in this crazy industry. There are experiences that like that I think there's a lot that can go on. And I think for me, I had a very positive experience. And I have friends who didn't have as positive of an experience. And I think that is because she was literally like my shadow. She was always there, always watching, always listening. And so, I mean, like gratitude is the word that comes to mind for me because she put everything and then some into like giving me the chance to do this. I could have, you know, it could have not unfolded the way that it did. But I love the story that you talk about when I first started and you were like trying to find your way and you went to the store and you got all these books.
Yes.
You want to tell the story?
Sure. People ask me, they'll come up to me and say, well, you know, my child wants to get into the business.
Yeah.
What did you do? And I said, okay, this is what I did.
Okay.
When she presented herself as an actress, then I went to, I said, I need to learn. And I'm really big on learning for myself. I love to read. I love to learn. So I found a Barnes & Noble down near the industry, right? So we were further out. Our Barnes & Noble didn't have anything. So I drove down to the Grove. It was a hike at that time. I drove to the Grove and they had an entire section on kids who wanted to be in the industry. So I bought like 10 books.
Did you really?
And I read them cover to cover.
I love that.
And it saved us years of problems because people learn things, they write it and they say, don't do this, do this. And I listened. And so it really, really helped. And I could always tell sometimes when someone is looking for a quick fix.
There's no
because
quick
I'll
fixes.
say, here's a good book to read, and then I'll see them 6 months later. Have you read that book yet?
No.
And they're like, no.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's,
But also,
it's something.
we now have podcasts like
Right.
this.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
this will step into that space.
Yeah. That's our hope for
yeah.
sure.
That's a great clip.
Yeah, I love it. First of all, I love Chandler and her mom Taryn, and there was there were so many good nuggets from that episode. But I love the go out there and figure it out attitude, because we still to this day hear all the time,
Yeah.
How do I get started? How do I blah, blah, blah? And she's like, I'm going to go read 10 books and figure it out for my kid. Like, I'm going to do that. And I do hope that this podcast has
100%.
been help for a lot of people.
I love that Chandler pointed that out. This is kind of like the next generation of that same idea. People can tune into these conversations.
It's also wild just to see like the sacrifice that she made to like fully leave her job
Totally.
to support Chandler. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's wild to.
Yeah.
It's wild because I mean those are the sacrifices that you guys.
But that's what you do as a parent. That's what you do because
no matter what it is.
100%.
the love that you have for your kids.
100%.
All right, let's go to another clip.
Yeah.
From, look, I'm going to say, probably one of my favorite guests that we've had on.
Yeah.
100%.
Might be my favorite guest. There's a debate in my head right now, but I love this guy.
I love all of our guests equally.
No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but Dexter, Darden, and Mama Pat came on. And honestly, that conversation was next level. I think all partly because of the depth and the history that Mama Pat brought.
And you guys are going to see some of that in this clip.
Here we go.
Here's how you know you have a great mom: when your kid is just like oozes the love for their parent, And Dex has done that privately when you're not around. He talks about you all the time. And so I've always just admired this mother-son relationship, because you guys know me and Malachi are super close, but I mean, this is really special. So you are a boss. I want to hear about you. Tell us a little bit, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you've done. Besides being an extra on Joyful Noise and Fun Night and Binge Too.
I'm an attorney.
Yeah.
I started practicing in 1974. At a time
74, 50 years of practicing law.
Yes.
I'm just going to say that one
Yeah,
more
it's
time.
incredible.
So amazing.
at a time when there weren't many women or blacks practicing.
Right.
So I was at the forefront of that
Yeah, you were.
movement. When I came out of law school, I think there were 8 black female attorneys in the state of New Jersey, or maybe 3 practicing. And the class before me doubled that amount. So it was difficult because there wasn't an acceptance, and I looked very young. And so between that, looking young, black and female, getting into the courtroom was even difficult for me, and getting into a jail to interview a client was almost impossible. I had to sue the Metropolitan Correctional Center in order to be able to get in to see my client.
She had to sue
out of here.
to be able to get in to see her client. This is a true story. I learned this one 50 years of practicing law. I mean, that's 75. My mom is 75. I'm going to just say it. She said she looked young then.
I was going to say, you look really young.
That's all them bow tie noodles, Felicia. That's keeping her, you know what I'm saying?
All the bow tie.
All that bow tie and that macaroni salad.
I'm going to go stock up on some bow tie noodles.
But I like, you don't really, sometimes, I'm sure Malachi has these moments when you see your dad working or your mom working, when you're like, oh, my parent is more than a parent. They're a professional.
Yeah.
Like they do things outside of just make sure I'm clothed and fed.
Right.
And I had a realization like that recently when my girlfriend and I went back to see my mom. New Jersey, the state of New Jersey honored her for 50 years of practicing law.
Wow.
And with the New Jersey Black Women's Law Association.
Wow.
So there was like hundreds of people and tons of attorneys who have known my mom throughout time. And you know how we would joke slick stories like about how Bowling Alley and then Maze Runner, or like I remember when you booked your first pilot, or like. But with the way they slick joke stories about, remember that time when Pat sued the board so that she could see her client? I'm like, what? Like I didn't like.
Wow.
So tell that story real quick, because that's a quick one. I know you have thousands of them from Thurgood Marshall, walking with Thurgood Marshall in Africa, and doing all of that. Brown versus Boards of Education, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's just to show how far we've come for Black female attorneys to now have, whether you voted for her or not, to have a Black female attorney be nominated as president.
100%.
Like, my mom had to sue to be able to see her client.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this was like not even this was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So like, just to put some things into perspective about, I hear a lot of people saying we lost or they lost or Black women have lost. And I'm like, I'm looking at my mom every day, right? Who's like been practicing law for 50 years.
Look at
And
those
now can
gains.
say somebody who did the same thing was able to run for president of the United States of America. Like, let's slow down with thinking that we're just folding or falling. Let's take take the levity off of the moment.
Yeah.
And let's look back and say 50 years ago, she couldn't see her client.
Jesus. Yeah.
Like,
Chills.
Just, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
So like,
and on their shoulders.
on their shoulders.
On your shoulders.
Well, you know, I think that one of the things that I want to say is what a blessing it was to be able to have a son very late in life. Because I'd wanted a child my entire life and tried my entire life and nothing was working.
Yeah.
And here I am at 43, pregnant, 42, 43 years old, pregnant.
Saying, give yourself some grace.
And it was something that, and it was an answer to a prayer.
Yeah.
And so one of his middle names is Matthew, which means gift from God.
Yeah.
And I dedicated his life to that kind of service, to be good and to give. And I was protective, like you all have been, very protective of what kind of people he was around, who was in his space, what kind of energy, you know, he was exposed to. And I think that helped in terms of going into the industry because, there's a whole lot in there.
Yep. Yep.
But we're drawn to folk like you. And the love and the sharing is real and it's honest and it's good and it's pure and it's nurturing and it's safe.
Yeah.
And that's what we looked for.
Yeah.
I mean, I've held him back at times. I'm sure his career could have been, but I would say, ooh, I don't like that. Don't like that vibe.
That's a fact. Yeah.
We're not doing that.
That's a fact. Mom and Pat would shut it down.
Nope.
Shut it down.
I don't care about that opportunity.
Like that.
Just like that. I love it. Just like that.
And then
I don't care.
You don't want to go past that because then that's when the shoes, you know what I mean, start just moving. People say, "How do you dodge like Ali?" I said, "My mom never really hit me much. She just was accurate. She was just pow."
So good.
I love it. We got so many fun clips from that episode.
My favorite clip was
"It's a vibe."
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
I've literally told my friends about like the whole her having to sue the state to get to
that
see
jail.
her.
New Jersey.
Like,
Yeah.
so wild.
Yeah. She is full of history. And it was a gift to have.
She's a walking museum. She's a walking museum.
She is a gift and a legend, I think. As a mom, she is an inspiration, the way she has guided, Dexter in his career and just I love their relationship so much. I love the way that they communicate with each other, the respect that they have for each other.
When she reached over for his hand in the middle of that, little tear. I mean,
Nope.
No, not feeling it?
Nope.
Oh,
Wow.
It's like that. There it is.
Mama Pat.
Love you guys.
No, the legacy that lives on in Dexter through her is incredible. Also, another fun fact is when we shot that, Dexter was not yet married.
I know.
Yeah.
Now he's married.
Now he's
married man.
He's wife.
Put a ring on it. Yep.
Attaboy.
Congrats,
Attaboy.
Dexter and Bria.
He's locked.
Dexter, Mama Pat, we love you so much.
Yep.
What a gift. Thanks for sharing that story with us. Thanks for sharing that conversation with us.
Yeah, it was so good. Okay, so the next clip that we want to show is with Daniell and Jennifer Fishel. Early guests, I think we shot this in early January, right after the new year. Actually, we shot it right after the fires
That's
had
right.
happened.
We had to postpone it because of the fires.
Yeah. But
this was a big one because she was just part of our life growing up, you know?
Yeah, Danielle was a huge child actor. You know, for me, she and I are about the same age. And so I grew up watching her on TV and then has become an incredible director. And that's how we connected with her was.
Yeah, she directed Malachi on Villains of Valley View.
Yeah. And so having them on. But besides that, she is one of 3 hosts on Pod Meets World, which is a hugely successful podcast, and sat down with us early on to talk us through starting a podcast. This clip is really fun because we had just asked them, would you rather talk to past you or future you? And I love their answers. So check it out.
We could have a conversation with her.
Like your future self shows up.
Yep.
And has a conversation with you, or your past self shows up and has a conversation.
Oh, that's easy for me.
Okay, good.
What is it? I'd rather have little Jennifer.
Cute.
Yeah.
Why? What do you want to tell little Jennifer?
Oh,
What do you want to ask little Jennifer?
So much. I mean, I think, having lived a lot of life now and learned so much along the way, it sure would have been nice to have had a conversation with young me and given advice with the wisdom that I have today. I mean, future me, I don't know, that doesn't really interest me that much because I feel like a lot of future me depends on me. I have control over that.
Right. Yeah.
But to go back and talk to young me, there's a lot of advice to offer.
Wow. I love that.
That's great.
I think I want to talk to future me. I don't know. It's not that I don't want to talk to little Danielle. I do. I think she's cool. But future Danielle, I kind of just want to know, like, do you ever figure out the thing you want to figure out, which is like, I'm really spending a lot of time, like 2025 is the year I'm going to do it. I'm really trying to figure out who the Danielle is post having kids. Now that I'm out of the real fog of like true toddlerhood, both my kids are completely potty trained, both day and night. So we're officially done as of like 3 months ago, done with diapers.
Amazing.
And that is a whole like, okay, we're almost done with naps. Like my oldest doesn't take a nap anymore. My youngest, 5.5 and almost 3.5.
Well done.
And so I'm like, by the time my youngest gets to be about 4, I'm going to feel a little bit more of like, I can travel with them easier. I can take them places, but I don't even really know. My husband and I made the decision when we had kids that like the first several years were just going to be about our lives revolving around their schedule, not them adopting to our schedule. So we gave up basically a social life. It was like, they go to bed at 7:30, we go to bed at 8:30. They get up at 6:30, I'm up at 5:30 so that I can have time to prep for them. And, we are with them 7 days a week and doing pickup and drop off. And I don't necessarily know what I think is fun anymore other than like trying to come up with things to do with my kids. And my husband's very similar. We don't necessarily see a ton of our friends. We haven't done a bunch. And so I'm like, okay, it's time to start figuring out who this Danielle is and finding maybe a bit of a better balance between work and being a mom and being a person and a wife. And so I kind of just wanted to like talk to future Danielle, like, do you ever figure it out? Do you ever also mellow out? If not, I need to do some more work now. Because eventually I want to see like a chiller Danielle.
I love that. And I heard in what you said that the great thing is that future you is exactly what you are engineering and creating right now by thinking about these things.
I loved that entire episode. I mean, that episode was so fun for me just because like, I feel like since working with Danielle, I've looked at her as like kind of like an older sister in the business type of thing.
I love that they each wanted something different, that one person wanted future and one person wanted the past.
Yeah.
I don't know. If Malachi, if you had to talk to future you or past you, which one would you pick?
125% say future me.
Future, what would you want to tell future you?
Well, I wouldn't want to tell future me anything. I would want future me to tell me what's going on.
Oh, interesting.
Like you want to know, like,
I just want to be able to not stress. Like, I just want to be able like to know, like, hey, like for him to be able to say, like, you're good, just stay on your path. Like, you're good.
To know that your future is secure.
Yeah.
That it works out. Yeah, that's great.
So.
It's interesting because that is really like a therapy question, because a lot in therapy, you do go back and deal with your younger self.
Yeah.
So I love that perspective.
You would go younger self?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what it was about and what I was wanting to address. But in terms of like personal growth and personal healing, I've had a lot of really great healing moments in my journey in therapy.
Yeah.
Where I've had the opportunity to go back to my younger self, that maybe, even I can make this very practical. You guys know that I have struggled with being a perfectionist my whole life. Well, that's because, surprise, that's because when I was young, I determined at a very young age that I had to do everything just right. And that was how I was going to win the approval of my parents, the religious system that I was a part of. That's how I even believed that I needed to find God's love. It was all going to be through me being perfect and doing everything right. And so that became my mode of like, this is how I can control things.
Yeah.
Also, like, this is the mask that I put on so that people will like who I am, rather than being able to let my true self be known. So that healing process for me has been going back to that younger self and saying kind of what you were saying, Malachi, like, hey, guess what, bud? We're okay.
Yeah.
I'm
sure
44
it's different
years old
now for you at this age than it is for you. Like, it makes sense to me that you would want to go future and that you would go past. And
yeah. Well, no, it's great because it's like the 44-year-old me can say, guess what? We're happy, we're well, we have a family, our needs are met, and we're secure. So I can go back to that younger self and say, guess what? We're good.
Yeah.
We made it. And so that actually allows that part of me that still might feel anxious or feel like I have to get everything perfect or just right. It allows that part of me to be let off the hook a little bit and to relax a little bit, and then maybe to fall back into what is that part of me useful for? And it's probably because that's the same part of me that goes in the recording studio and can edit something and kind of make something
detailed
get
and
detail
make it,
oriented. Exactly. So that's the healthy expression of that part of me versus, say, the unhealthy expression of that part of me that, has been a problem for me in a lot of ways over the years that needed to be addressed. So it's interesting. I love it.
All right. Well, the next clip that we have for you, it was the moment from Dallas's podcast. And I mean, it was really special because I feel like one of the main points of that entire podcast was the fact that me and him are both seniors in high school, and we're graduating, becoming young men.
Technically, in 2 days when this episode airs, in 2 days you're walking.
I am walking.
Yeah.
with the class of 2025.
Class of 2025.
But no, it was a great episode. So let's take a look and get into it.
I've loved the conversation today about you guys moving from boyhood to manhood. I think this is really important. One of my favorite authors is a guy named John Eldredge, and he was actually a therapist for 35 years, and then he started writing books. And this book, Wild at Heart, that he wrote, I don't know if you've heard of it, was written specifically about the heart and soul of a man. And it's great because he kind of takes his psychology background and then he brings it and adds into it the spiritual, biblical aspect, which I love. And one of his big statements in that book that spoke to me tremendously, and I see it in you guys, and it was that the question in the heart of every man is, do I have what it takes? This idea of when it really matters, will I be able to come through?
Yeah.
And it's like I hear that from both of y'all, thinking about moving out, thinking about standing on your own 2 feet in the world. You both had amazing moms who have supported you in incredible ways. But, as moms, the whole point of that is to get them to the point that they could stand on their own 2 feet, right? And for myself as a father, I think about all these stories about baseball and everything. I'll be honest, at this point, it's hard for me to let go. As much work as we've done towards this, as much conversation as you and I have had, babe, about, I know it's your time, Malachi, to step out and to fly. But it's not easy. Right. It's not easy to let go, right?
Right.
But I think it's important to know, especially in a world right now where we've observed so much toxic masculinity, right? We've seen men who had strength, had power, but didn't know how to use it, or they used it for their own greed, their own gratification.
Yeah.
Think about all the things going on in our world, this past year, it's been wild. I think you guys bring something different to the table. And it's really encouraging to me to see the character that y'all have and to think about what you're going to be able to do with your strength. You know, because I think back, like the baseball is a big part of this story. And it's like, even as a young boy, you have a strength that's trying to get out. You know, and for me, when I was young, I remember I went through a phase where I got really angry, you know, and at the end of the day, that was my strength trying to get out, but trying to get out the wrong way. And so I love that you guys have over time have allowed your strengths to become tempered to the point that, you know, it becomes a tool that you have to offer the world, something you have to offer the people in your lives, you know, one day a wife, one day a family, you know. So for what it's worth, you know, from this father to you incredible young men, you have what it takes.
Appreciate that.
And the world's a better place because of the strength that you guys bring to it. So you've done that in Hollywood, you know, through your work, but I also know that you do it every day with your lives. So, yeah.
Love that.
How do y'all feel about it?
I love that. That's beautiful, baby.
Shout out.
That was really inspirational.
Thanks, Dad.
Wisdom corner over there.
Appreciate it.
Well, it's coming from my heart, you know.
Absolutely.
Really proud of you both.
Yeah, and that's really important to take into this next stage of our lives.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh man, that was a special conversation. I know
It was.
I ate up a lot of time there. I was talking for a while, which doesn't usually happen on this podcast. Dallas is a special guy. You know, the world got to know him, I think, through Cobra Kai. But you and he have that whole baseball connection. And you're also both exceptional young men who are going to step in the world and make a great difference.
That clip specifically, though, I think it was really a special moment for a dad to have with two, you know, young men coming into this new phase of their lives. And, you know, this podcast is called MOMager, and we talk a lot about the mom's role in this business. And I'm really trying to flip the negative connotation of what being a momager looks like, because so many people have said so many, you know, negative things about it. But also the power of a dad is so important. And so you have played a huge role, clearly, you know, in his life. And I just thought that was a beautiful moment for you to be able to, you know, share all of the wisdom that you have and that you've learned over the years and grown yourself, the work that you've done on yourself, and to be able to pass that down was really beautiful. So thanks for bringing that.
Thanks, babe.
To the pod.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Okay, next one. This was again our very first episode that we filmed. This is with Freya and Sara. Who Freya is in the new Zombies with
4.
You, and you guys are also going to see her out on tour with Malachi on the DZ Worlds Collide tour. But this was a really special moment because Freya and Sara oftentimes have had to spend time away from Mike, traveling.
And this was filmed on a trip where they were
filmed,
here.
On a
Mike
trip.
was back home in London.
Yeah, exactly. So, take a look.
She's at home with our dog Ruby, and she's great company, but I feel like having my dad out here, just like I'm at my best with my mum and my dad because we're all so close. So like I feel like I'm missing a piece of my puzzle. That was really cringe.
That's tough. And I feel like I'm missing a piece of my heart when Mike's not here. I miss Mike. I haven't seen him in a long time.
You know, so actually when we're not there, like he misses us terribly, but it's his time to like really just focus. And he just works and works and works because he's like, I'm going to work my ass off for these next 3 weeks so that when they come back, I can like give everything to them. You know?
I love that. We hit up Mike.
Oh, you did?
And he sent a little something for
I'm
you
actually
guys.
gonna cry. Okay.
Dad.
Oh, I'm
This is why we have tissues.
Did you actually?
Right.
Did you send a video?
Oh no.
Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Hey babe, hey Frey, just on our dog walk to the windmill, walking to the windmill. Say hi Ruth. Yeah, bit weird doing the dog walks on my own. And yeah, just got me thinking how much I miss you guys. I miss you so much, and I can't wait to see you in a few weeks. And I'm so proud of you both. I probably don't say it enough actually because life is always so hectic, but I miss you both so much. I miss the laughter in the house, and I think it's fair to say the house doesn't feel like a home unless you two are there. And yeah, I can't wait to have you back. But for now, That's for my own selfish reasons, right? And now, keep smashing it, keep chasing the dream. And I can't wait to see you all soon. I love you lots. Rubes loves you lots. Say hi, Rubes. Oh, God, nearly fell over. British countryside for you. Love you millions. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Oh, he's so cute.
How did you do that?
Yes.
Oh,
We
man.
literally just spoke to him as well before we came
Oh,
here.
you guys are the worst.
That's so
It's
cute.
literally the best. And I have to say, one of the things that I love the most about the three of you, because, okay, we're just three. And maybe that's why we hit it off so well.
Yeah.
Is because we know what it's like to just be a mom and a dad and a kid chasing wild, wild dreams. And just as a parent, like literally sacrificing all of it, you know, for the sake of your kid to like, now I'm crying too. Good Lord. Just to like, you know, to do it.
I
And
got
it's,
you. Thank you, Dad.
thanks.
See, we get emotional here, too.
We get emotional.
We get emotional.
Especially Malachi. He's really
He's
really
I know, I'm
the
just
most
sitting there just
emotional
like-
of all of us. I love that clip because it really does show the sacrifice that it can take in this business specifically. We have had to work very hard over the years. Obviously, you're 18 now, which is a whole nother transition. You know, you starting to do things by yourself. But over the years, we worked really hard to make sure that all of the things we did, that you did as an actor, that we were a part of them as a family as much as possible.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always work out like that, though. Like there are moments where you're separated and your unit feels disjointed, you know, and that's a real
That's
thing that you have to think about going into. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Trying to finish your sentence, babe.
Clearly.
Go ahead.
They like to do this.
Yeah. No, that's a very real thing that people in this business have to face, and that you have to decide early on. Like a lot of people, you know, they live in other states and you are auditioning for something and then you book a job and they're, you know, you and the mom or you and the dad are going to another country or a state or a city or whatever. And you have to make that choice early on. Is this the sacrifice that we are going to be willing to make in order to see this happen? Right. And I think parents in general, though, have to make those choices for a lot of different things, you know, like Camry and Hillary, they have to make choices all the time. Hillary, when they were on, we don't have this clip, but when they were here and we talked a lot about mom guilt and like leaving your kids, you know, your other kids back home to go chase this dream with one kid or with the, you know, all of that. So it's quite the sacrifice. And I'm very thankful to Freya and Sara for being so vulnerable and sharing that moment with us at MOMager.
No, that's a good point too, because we hoped, I think at the outset of this podcast, that this would be a space where people would feel safe and feel comfortable enough to open up their real emotions. So the fact that they were able to go there and we could go there with them meant a lot. And that's a real assessment that every parent who is thinking about stepping into this business with their kid has to really make. Like, it will test your family relationship on a new level.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
You know, if you have to take one of your children and come to LA and audition and try to book roles or whatever while your spouse is back in another place with maybe your other kids, that's tough.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot of sacrifice. It also takes a lot of planning and logistics and finances. I mean, there's a lot of pressure that comes into play. And then you have to navigate that together. You know, I think about all the times over the years that, you know, we've kind of had this rule of we try not to be apart from each other for more than 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Because it's this strange thing where you actually learn to be okay without the other member, you know, without your spouse, because you have to survive. But then you come back together and you have to learn to be back together again.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
sometimes you just got to make the sacrifice and do it and adjust. But
and, you know, in our journey, you know, who's been such a great model of that for us is the Benwards.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that we had Luke and his mom and dad, Aaron and Kenda on.
Yeah.
And, you know, earlier I said that Dexter
nice transition, by the way.
Thanks. Earlier I said
that. Say that and then I was going to wait to say it so you could finish doing the transition.
No, earlier when I was debating who my favorite conversation has been with so far, it was Dexter or the Benwards, 100% for me. And it's because it was just so rich, and it reminded me of so much of what we've been through in our journey, and how grateful I am for the Benwards for creating the space that they did at family dinner.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about in this episode that they would literally have Luke and all of his friends who were actors from all over the country come in, and they would just serve them a home-cooked meal, you know, and just say, look, this is a safe space.
Yeah.
Come, enjoy, hang out.
Yeah.
We don't want anything from you.
Yeah.
There's no strings attached. Just come and be loved.
Yeah.
So this is coming straight out of that when we had finished showing them a video from many of the people who had been a part of family dinner and whose lives had been touched by family dinner. So
check it out.
Check it out.
You were raising up your kids in such an amazing community with so many amazing friends, and so many amazing memories. Those are some of the best days of my entire life. I love you both so much, and thank you for everything.
There we go.
Wow. Thank you, guys.
My second cry on this podcast.
It's so interesting. You know,
do we have tissues?
Yeah. You think it's this interesting kind of intersection of natural and unnatural. Here's what I mean. The natural for us, this is about behind the scenes of families. The natural is to, give me a second here, is to see in your kid what God has given them, the gift. That's the natural for us as parents, right? If we're in tune, if we're connected, our job as parents is to then bring out, enhance, support, elevate that natural. The unnatural is when we get into what this is that we are into, and that is this business, this entertainment space, this scenario where it's can be fueled by what is mine, what is self, everything that I need to get, inflation of ego, competition so I can get it before they do.
Right. Yeah.
All those things are unnatural to the gift. And so what we try with family dinner is give them a moment of natural in this unnatural environment. And little did we know, I think, just the impact that it was having, and to hear some of those stories and of our own children being affected by it. Thank you for taking the time to do that for us.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh,
especially in this phase of our life.
I'll never forget the first time I came, and Aaron, you would get up, you know, Kenda, you were in the kitchen making this beautiful meal, and then you gather everybody into the living room, and you would share a few words, Aaron, and it was something along the lines of, look, in this town, everybody wants something from you all the time. But tonight, we don't want anything from you. There's no agenda here.
Yeah.
This is your space. All we want is to give you a meal and let you feel that you have a home. And it was simple.
Well, you have to understand, like, when I sit in this and just soak up what we're doing here, you guys, MOMager is a 100% a connection from that. Because you guys are bringing into the ethos, bringing into the atmosphere of people's phones, rooms, TVs, homes, the perspective of something that they perceive to be potentially negative. How dare you allow your kid to be in this business?
Right.
Well, no, what they don't understand is you brought the natural out of your child, and then you put him into an unnatural space. However, taking what God has given you for him to give him the ability to be successful in the gift that God has given him.
Yeah.
It just so happens to be in a crazy, weird town and city and scenario. So what you guys are doing, tissues on set. Thank you.
Jorge, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And so even beyond like all the people that have been on here and will be on here, this pulling back of a veil of something that seems to be can be so saccharine and counterfeit to the authentic.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Right? The authentic journey of a young artist with parents that are not living through them.
Right.
But living with them and for them.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
That's really well said. Thank you for Thank you for saying that,
It
all
is.
of that. Just
Absolutely.
sharing that.
And family dinner wasn't what we were doing. It was we were doing. It was what the collective we were doing.
Yeah.
Right? That's what made it so remarkable.
Yeah.
And so special. And I mean, I don't know. I think we should do the clap.
I love it. Malachi might not remember.
The what?
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
And now I'm kind of starting
That's
to
applause
remember.
number 3.
Yeah, applause number 3.
I love it.
The clap. The clap.
All the feels on that episode too. That conversation was so incredible. We had to split it in between 2 episodes because it was just so good. I mean, it really was so rich. They have been incredible mentors and friends to us, and we're just so thankful that they've been a part of our lives for so long, since you were so little, and that they were able to come onto the pod and share their incredible wisdom with all of you guys. Yeah.
We want to say a special thanks to Aaron, Kenda, and Luke, and each one of our guests who've been on MOMager so far, who've been willing to share their stories, their lives, the things they've overcome, their victories. You know, we've gotten to share some celebrations and some big moments, their wisdom, and for taking us behind the scenes of their Hollywood family lives.
Or Nashville, or UK family lives, or Australia family lives,
Utah.
or Utah, wherever they are. Yeah,
I love
seriously.
And also, I just want to say thank you to all of our viewers and our listeners for tuning in.
Yeah.
Make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications, and check out our Patreon.
And if you enjoyed these clips and you have not seen the full episode, please go back and watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time on MOMager, a Barton Fam podcast.
Peace.
Peace.
It's that MOMager life. We take it day by day.